Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits. All right.
Angel Reese just entered the WNBA, and within 5 minutes, she's already threatening to go on strike. That's like getting hired at McDonald's, burning the fries on your first day, and then demanding to become the regional manager. Apparently, she's under the impression that throwing tantrums works better than throwing jump shots, because she sure isn't doing the latter very well. She's been in the league for a hot second and thinks she's ready to flip the entire WNBA table over, forgetting that the table she's flipping has been duct taped together for 27 years and mostly funded by the NBA's pity cash.
We all did it.
Yeah, the CBA is coming up. I can't wait.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL.
What does that mean? We deserve more.
Of course,
Everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
But we got to get paid the consequences.
What?
Damn, we got to get it up.
Y'all gotta
like,
deal
y'all.
with something. Y'all gotta do something.
But the women coming in, not this year, but next year, or
Yeah.
because the ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract again.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that the year after, they gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us.
No, they are.
I'm
They
hurt.
are. Like, yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are.
I need to get in the. I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meeting.
gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
Let's rewind. Reese claimed her WNBA salary doesn't even cover rent. Tragic, really. $74,000 a year, and she's crying broke like she's a starving artist in Brooklyn. Never mind that she was raking in over $1.8 million in college just for existing with a camera pointed at her. Now that she's expected to actually play basketball for a living instead of signing sneakers and shouting "period" on TikTok, it's suddenly a national emergency. The delusion is so strong, it could apply for statehood.
So they're upset. They want to get paid. Possibility. Reese has been vocal about her low WNBA salary, revealing her $74,000 a year salary doesn't cover rent, stating on Instagram Live, "I just hope you know that the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think they pay one of my bills. Reese's financial struggles stem from WNBA salary not matching her past earnings, as her NIL valuation at LSU was $1.8 million, bolstered by deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and Coach, while a 4-year rookie deal was $324,000 with $74,000 due next season. She quipped, hating pays them bills, baby, noting break." I can't read this. Tom's better.
Meanwhile, Patrick Bet-David, casually sipping from a mug full of economic facts, obliterated this entire victim narrative with the precision of a military drone. Angel's argument, feelings, Patrick's response. Math turns out the WNBA makes less money than a high school bake sale and loses $50 million a year doing it. But sure, let's double the salaries. Why not? Maybe we can fund it with monopoly money or positive affirmations.
You know what I love watching? I love watching her highlights of missing shots. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life.
The WNBA is what you get when you mix social justice, participation trophies, and a business model that hasn't worked since 1997. It's like watching someone try to make fetch happen, but instead of giving up, they just scream louder every year. Strikes, protests, salary demands. Sweetie, you need to win games first. Or, wild idea, maybe learn to shoot above 25% from the field before threatening the league with extinction.
They were demanding chartered flights, private airfare. The diva of Dump Divas, Kat Engelbert, she borrowed some weakness from Adam Silver and she acquiesced to these unreasonable demands. Knowing her beloved Dump could not afford it. When the WNBA approved chartered flights, I told you guys that it would not be enough. You see, the thing about entitlement, you can never satisfy the perceived need. Once you give in to entitlement, you are setting yourself up for a lifetime of unreasonable demands. Entitled people, they are experts at recognizing weakness, which is why Adam Silver and Kat Engelbert are constantly being taken advantage of. When the WNBA approved chartered flights, I told you guys that their next demand, it was going to be focused on their minimum wage salaries. Us normal people, myself included,
Here's a fun stat. The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA like an unemployed sibling living in the basement. The NBA shovels in $10 to $12 million a year to keep the women's league on life support. Angel threatening to strike is like a houseplant threatening to move out. The NBA wouldn't just be fine with a strike, they'd probably pop champagne and enjoy a brief moment of financial relief. Finally, a summer without hemorrhaging cash.
30 years, we look at this situation and realize WNBA players, they don't have any leverage. Hell, they are lucky they're not having to pay to participate in this league. They are lucky to be receiving their minimum wage salaries. Anytime you're going into negotiations, the side with the most leverage, they usually win. Right now, there are rumors of a potential strike in Major League Baseball. Captain Doofus Rob Manfred,
But here's where the comedy turns tragic. Some WNBA players are furious that Caitlin Clark is the new face of the league. The same Caitlin Clark who is literally saving their jobs by selling out arenas, boosting viewership by 170%, and raising merchandise sales by 600%. That's right, folks. WNBA players are so allergic to success, they're mad at the one person bringing in money. It's like a sinking ship blaming the lifeboat for being too photogenic. Apparently, some of the league's veterans missed the memo. You can't bite the hand that's feeding you, especially when that hand is signing your paychecks. Caitlin Clark isn't just hooping, she's reviving an entire league that's been on life support for decades. And the thanks she gets? Side eyes, cheap fouls, and a bizarre, almost cult-like resentment from players who should be sending her gift baskets and fruit trays.
Years later, they got a team there, number one. Number two, when Caitlin Clark came into the league, they left the arena they normally play in and had to go to an NBA venue because they were selling out. When Caitlin Clark was going to other cities, they were changing the venue they play in because they were going to larger venues because they were selling out.
You'd think having packed arenas and national media attention would be a cause for celebration. But no, some of these WNBA veterans are treating Caitlin's success like it's an invasion, not a resurrection. They don't see her as a teammate in the fight for relevance. They see her as a threat to their fragile egos and dwindling spotlight. And that's where the jealousy creeps in. The kind of envy that doesn't come from Caitlin doing anything wrong, but from her doing everything right. Because let's be honest, the WNBA hasn't seen this level of buzz ever. The league has spent decades begging for visibility, pleading for TV time, and trying to convince people they matter. Then comes Caitlin, fresh out of college, and suddenly, bam, they're the hottest ticket in town. And instead of embracing the surge, some players are acting like she kicked over their Gatorade cooler and took their parking spots.
Well, you're going to be seeing a lot more of Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever this season. The WNBA announced the team will be nationally televised in 41 out of their 44 regular season games.
There's no logical reason to be mad at someone who's making you relevant. But when ego outweighs common sense, logic goes out the window. Instead of leveraging Caitlin's popularity, some athletes are busy undermining it, throwing shade in interviews, delivering cheap shots on the court, and pouting like it's high school gym class. It's a masterclass in self-sabotage. So what's really going on here? It's not about basketball. It's about clout. It's about the sudden realization that someone younger, more charismatic, and yes, marketable, is now holding the spotlight they thought they were entitled to. Caitlin didn't just change the game, she shifted the entire power dynamic, and some people just can't handle that. But here's the kicker. If they played their cards right, they could all win. They could ride the Caitlin Clark wave into bigger paychecks, better endorsements, and a league that finally gets the respect it's always claimed to deserve. Instead, they're too busy trying to sink the one player who's actually floating the boat.
4 on CBS, I think 5 or 6 on Amazon Prime. I think they have the most on NBA TV. But nevertheless, that goes to show you who's the face of the league, guys. This year, these networks with this new deal in the CBA, they knew coming into the season they had to showcase the Indiana Fever more than any other team. Now, what would cap it off more? The Indiana Fever.
And then there's Lisa Leslie, certified WNBA royalty, Hall of Famer, Olympic gold medalist, and apparently now head of the bake sale committee. She suggested that NBA players could help boost WNBA salaries by skipping a night at the casino. Really? That's the master plan? Not new sponsorship deals, not restructuring revenue shares, not building a larger fan base, but hoping LeBron skips the blackjack table? You know your business model is on life support when your brightest funding idea is basically a glorified GoFundMe backed by poker chips and pity. It's giving desperation with a side of delusion.
I mean, I just think, from a salary standpoint, it'd be great for the women to be able to make more money. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. I think I saw something that said like one player that makes maybe $12 million on an NBA team could cover the whole WNBA salary.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that's kind of like crazy. And again, we're what, 26 years young, so it's not like we're comparing ourselves to the NBA, but I do feel like the pay gap would be something that, we could just take a donation around the NBA maybe one night y'all don't go to the casinos.
I have.
Draymond Green, never one to hold his tongue, practically burst a vein in response. And for once, he wasn't yelling at Dylan Brooks or getting ejected in the second quarter. No, Draymond was out here defending the WNBA like it was Game 7 of the finals and somebody disrespected Steph Curry. The man was visibly irritated, and you can't even blame him. The NBA already props up the WNBA, financially, emotionally, and logistically. Without NBA infrastructure, most WNBA teams would be playing in church gyms and begging TikTok influencers for shout-outs.
Get on this, though, because it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I don't think there's anyone in America that supports the WNBA more than NBA players.
100%.
The NBA players support the WNBA like
the most.
More than we probably support the fucking NBA. And it bothers me.
Let's be honest. The NBA isn't just supporting the WNBA. They're practically co-signing every move. NBA arenas host their games. NBA media teams amplify their highlights. NBA players promote them at every opportunity. And yet now they're being asked to skip the casino like they're irresponsible dads gambling away the family rent money instead of multimillionaires funding an entire league out of sheer goodwill. But Lisa's comments weren't just tone deaf. They were telling. They revealed a painful truth the WNBA has been dancing around for years. They want equality without answering the brutal question of market demand. If the WNBA were a product consumers were clamoring for, tickets sold out, jerseys flying off the shelves, ratings skyrocketing, they wouldn't need handouts disguised as solidarity. They'd have leverage, not lectures. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about fairness, it's about feasibility. The NBA is a global brand that generates billions. The WNBA, meanwhile, is still trying to figure out how to fill lower bowl seats without giving away free nachos. That's not shade, it's economics. So when someone like Lisa Leslie floats the idea of NBA players tossing an extra pocket change by cutting back on their nightlife, it's not just laughable, it's borderline insulting. These are men who've already done more than enough to keep the lights on, and now they're being guilt-tripped into becoming financial guardians? What's next? Asking Steph Curry to crowdsource Candace Parker's travel per diem? Should Kevin Durant host a bake sale so the Liberty can fly commercial?
WNBA players, I can tell you 100%. And we had a meeting for our 25th anniversary. We're do Zooms with the veteran, the legends of the league or whatever, and just talking about it. And I told them on that call, the number one supporter that we have, you guys never focus on, and that is...
At some point, the WNBA needs to look inward. Not every problem can be solved by pointing at the NBA and yelling more, especially when the real issue isn't lack of support, it's lack of self-sufficiency. And that brings us to the uncomfortable question no one wants to say out loud, but we will. Is the WNBA actually ready for the equality it keeps demanding, or is it just addicted to the idea of fairness without the burden of performance? But don't worry, Angel Reese has a solution to all the WNBA's woes. Just sit out. Yep, she's floating the idea of a player strike, convinced that walking off the court will magically force the league to treat its athletes with the same reverence as their NBA counterparts. Bold move for a league already bleeding money like a bad investment on Shark Tank. The WNBA has been operating at a financial loss for years, relying on NBA subsidies and goodwill from sponsors who are more interested in virtue signaling than actual viewership. So Reese's grand plan to punish the league by withholding her on-court presence? Ironically, it might be the most budget-friendly strategy the WNBA has ever stumbled into. No games, no travel, no logistics, no staff overtime, no arena rental fees. In fact, NBA accountants might be popping champagne at the mere thought of it. And let's not forget the coaches, those poor souls tasked with turning half-court chaos into something resembling professional basketball. A strike would finally give them a break from watching jump shots that defy the laws of physics and land with the elegance of a bowling ball dropped from a roof.
They can't be this stupid. There is absolutely no way they can be this delusional. How in the hell can you be this blinded by your own entitlement? The dumb divers in the WNBA, they must be surrounded by yes men. Well, Casey, don't you mean yes women? Yes men. Yes, women. Choose your pronoun. It doesn't matter. The players in the WNBA, they must be surrounded by people telling them how great they are. They must be surrounded by people telling them how valuable they are. Basically, the dump divers in the WNBA, they must be surrounded by people who are constantly lying to them. Because I have never seen a group of entitled players overvalue themselves this much financially.
Even online chatbot joined the roast session. Patrick Bet David typed in a simple question, does the WNBA make money when it doesn't play? And the answer? Yes. Yes, they do. Because the cost of keeping the lights on, paying staff, and flying players to half-empty arenas is more expensive than just doing nothing. That's how dire things are. In the world of sports economics, the WNBA is a money pit wearing sneakers. And look, we get it. Angel Reese is frustrated, but you can't walk into a failing business, shout, I deserve more, and expect to be taken seriously. That's not how pay works. That's how TikTok clout works. You want more money? Win more games? Sell more jerseys? Maybe stop treating the one player who's doing all of that like she stole your spotlight. Newsflash, she earned it by actually delivering results. This is why Patrick called the WNBA a zombie company. It died in 1997, but no one had the heart to bury it. The NBA keeps tossing it financial crumbs to keep up the illusion that it's a functioning business, but everyone knows the truth. The league survives because it's a PR tool, a social experiment disguised as a sport. No amount of hashtags or side eyes toward Caitlin Clark will change that.
Claiming that a work stoppage would be great for Major League Baseball. Had one of my longtime viewers reach out to me this week saying that Rob Manfred was actually right from a financial perspective.
And if things weren't messy enough, the idea that the WNBA should get the same revenue split as the NBA is like a gas station band demanding Beyoncé money. Sure, you both technically have microphones, but one of you is selling out stadiums while the other's still trying to find the beat. The NBA brings in $17 billion a year. The WNBA brings in vibes. You can't split what doesn't exist.
The WNBA has never turned a profit in its 30-year history. It exists because the NBA subsidizes it. Because they don't make any money. Nobody, generally speaking, is watching.
I understand why they're not making the same or even close to it, because the viewership just simply isn't there. That's ad revenue. They have to sell that time. So I completely understand why. Now, from a female's perspective, I also can empathize saying, yeah, I get why that's frustrating. I get why, as a woman, you wish that more people watched your sport and therefore you could make the same salary.
Right.
I empathize with that. That is frustrating. However, it just is what it is. I mean, you can't change. I hope, like you said, that Caitlin Clark can change things, but it's just not the case right now.
This isn't about fairness. It's about entitlement dressed in designer clothes and press-on nails. Bottom line, you want a raise? Make a profit? You want respect? Earn it. Until then, maybe skip the strike talk and start hitting layups. Because right now, the only thing Angel Reese is breaking is the patience of anyone who's ever run a business or watched a game without falling asleep by halftime. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.